Today is a WRAL weather alert day. We're about to see the next round of showers and thunderstorms moving in. I'll show you what to expect during the afternoon.
The first 100. Governor Josh Stein marks the occasion in western North Carolina. An update on recovery efforts for residents in the mountains.
And in the nick of time, the Carolina Hurricanes seal the deal on a top prospect just in time for the playoffs.
Today is a WRAL weather alert day, and it continues to make for messy travel. Severe storms are possible just a little bit later this afternoon into the evening. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. We want to give you a look at RDU International Airport, this live view from the WRAL live camera network. You can see just how we are socked in with the clouds, and unless you have a flight, no escaping the rain today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner joining us with the newest data and what we can expect for this afternoon and evening.
We definitely had a lot of rain this morning, and then closer to lunchtime, we've had a little break in the precipitation, but now it's beginning to redevelop back to our west, and we're going to have clusters of rain. We're not going to see the radar, completely covered in green. It's going to be clusters of storms that start to pop up across our area. So we're seeing a little bit of that in Southern Pines. I had the camera pulled up down there over the golf course, and it was just pouring down rain. We've had another little shower sneak through, and so it's just to our west, moving into our western counties now. We've had a lot of heavy rain, as much as an inch to an inch and a half or more in some places out there, and later this evening we're going to have the storm tracker out as we see these cells affecting us during the evening commute. This is a look at Futurecast now. You can see a few of these showers that are in the western part of the viewing area. Those continue to slide eastward. There's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some rotation here just due to a low pressure system, not a tornado, but that low pressure system will continue to create some of those cells, and that continues up until around, say, 9 or 10 o'clock. So between around 3 and 9 will be when we have the best chance of seeing some hail, some heavy rain, and possibly some gusty winds. But it's a level 1 risk, and that means any severe storms that we see would just be isolated and not widespread. Here's a look at Pinehurst again, and boy, just a few minutes ago there was water standing on the green here, and it has not stopped those golfers from getting out there. Right now we have a wind out of the north, and it is 59 degrees, so our temperatures are fairly cool, and we'll see cool temperatures later on, especially as those storms pick up. I'll show you how much more rain we could see through the rest of the day coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Make sure you have the WRAL News app downloaded with notifications turned on. We'll alert you to changing weather conditions and traffic issues across our viewing area.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are following some breaking news out of Hope County. 2 people are in the hospital after a shooting there that happened in the early morning hours. We have video from the WRAL breaking news tracker on scene. This is what the Hope County Sheriff's Office says happened. Deputies responded to a man with a gun in the area of Darby Drive at 3:34 this morning. Deputies heard yelling and a shot fired. Both subjects were transported to a local hospital. It is unknown what their injuries are right now. The State Bureau of Investigations is investigating. That typically means that it is a police-involved shooting. We are working to get more information on that and to confirm that. As soon as we have that, we'll bring it to you from the Live Center.
As we've been reporting, today is Governor Josh Stein's 100th day in office, and to mark the occasion, the governor visited the western part of our state, which is still recovering from Helene. WRAL's Ken Smith joins us now with the update on recovery efforts that the governor shared today. Ken?
Yeah, Jeff, since the governor took office, he has spent quite a bit of time visiting western North Carolina. Well, this is video of him visiting that part of the state when the 6-month anniversary happened of that storm. Well, today he talked about those visits and how they serve to remind him of the work that still needs to be done. He also pointed to the $524 million bipartisan aid package that he signed back in March, but he says much more financial assistance is needed.
In the weeks ahead, I'm going to be sending to the General Assembly a second Helene budget focused on the ongoing housing needs, support for small businesses, revenue replacement for local governments, and desperately needed wildfire prevention efforts.
Well, the governor says he wants to hear from the people of western North Carolina about their needs, both from the state and federal government. The governor says that's the kind of partnership that will ensure that the people of western North Carolina are getting the help they want and they need. We'll have more on the governor's 100th day in office and his visit to western North Carolina in a news starting at 4 on WRAL and, of course, online at WRAL.com.
Wake County Public Health is urging families to make sure their children are protected against measles as well as themselves. The vaccine is the best defense against this highly contagious and potentially serious disease. Measles spreads through the air when an infected person coughs or sneezes. While no cases of measles have been confirmed in Wake County since 2016, the resurgence of cases in multiple states means it could easily pop up in our community. As of April 3rd, there have been 607 confirmed cases of measles nationwide.
The North Carolina Central Eagles are flying high. Carrie Dixon was officially sworn in as the HBCU's 13th chancellor this morning. She's been on the job since last July. WRAL's Monica Casey was there, and Monica, this was a big celebration.
It was a packed house here on NC Central's campus with students, alumni, faculty, and staff here to welcome Carrie Dixon as the new chancellor. She is the first woman to serve as permanent chancellor of 2 UNC system schools. She first started over at Elizabeth City State before coming here to NC Central. Now, during her tenure so far, NC Central has achieved record-breaking growth in enrollment, leading the UNC system for the second year in a row in both fall and spring. Durham Mayor Leonardo Williams saying here today Dixon's presence has been impactful since day one.
We will create an environment where dreams are nurtured, potential is realized, and leaders are forged. As I look out at this vibrant community, I see endless possibilities. Our university has the capacity to be a beacon of hope and a hub of innovation.
Dixon has a long history at UNC system schools, earning her bachelor's at NC State, her master's at UNCG, and her doctorate at State. She told the crowd here today her priorities include making sure every student is heard, funding scholarships, and expanding the endowment. In addition to her accomplishments already here at NC Central regarding enrollment, Dixon has also secured a $1 million gift from Google to establish a research institute for AI here at NC Central. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
A town hall event in Raleigh will address the future of St. Augustine's University as it faces staggering financial debt and loss of accreditation. Alumni and supporters of St. Aug hope tonight's event will gain national attention. They are asking the community to weigh in on what happens next for the university. The national digital talk show, #Roland Martin Unfiltered, is hosting tonight's town hall at Martin Street Baptist Church. Doors open at 5 and the town hall starts at 6.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are following some breaking news out of Boca Raton. Multiple people are feared dead after a plane crash near the airport. This is a live look at the scene. Look at that destruction there. The FAA says the plane was a Cessna 310 carrying 3 people. It crashed around 10:20 this morning after it took off from the Boca Raton airport. It was on its way to Tallahassee. The aircraft appeared to be circling in the air as it turned back to go back to the airport. Witnesses who work nearby this scene say they saw the crash flying and they saw the plane flying low. It crashed, then their building shaked when it crashed. Several roads near the airport are closed. We do want to note this is near I-95 in Boca Raton. An SUV also destroyed at that scene. Police have set up a staging session there. We are waiting to hear more about how many people were on this plane, how many people were hurt. As soon as we have that information, we'll bring it to you from the Live Center.
Michelle, thanks. Federal investigators are now searching for clues in the deadly crash involving a sightseeing helicopter. They're working to find out why the helicopter fell out of the sky and plunged into the Hudson River. The crash killed a family of 5 and the pilot. NBC's Sam Brock is in New York City with reaction from the owner of the helicopter.
The investigation today appears to be in its early stages as the NTSB and the FAA have both launched teams on scene. We're getting new views and videos of what happened in this tragedy yesterday. One of them clearly showing this helicopter breaking apart and falling into the Hudson River. I spoke with the man who shot the video. He says it sounded like parts were just snapping, the tail of the plane, the rotor blades coming apart. There's new video also in this morning that does appear to corroborate that narrative, that the blades are just sort of spinning in the air after the body of the helicopter has already plunged into the icy water. We are also right now learning more about the victims that were on board that tourist helicopter. There are thousands of them a year that fly around New York City. In this case, it was 6 passengers, the pilot, and a couple from Spain. The father was a high-level executive for Siemens Spain, the international company, his wife, and their 3 kids. And as far as trying to recover their bodies, it's just not clear at this point whether they died based on the exposure to the frigid water behind me or it was the impact of the crash. But their flight path total was only about 15 or 16 minutes, according to New York authorities. That helicopter left in the Wall Street area, the downtown heliport, traced the Hudson River behind me, went all the way to the GW Bridge, and was coming back around near Jersey City and Hoboken when this all happened. Now, the person that owns the helicopter company did speak with several publications, including The Telegraph. He said that the pilot in this case was phoning in to say that he needed more fuel. Typically, that takes like 3 minutes. He said 20 minutes elapsed. He wasn't sure what happened, contacted his office, and found out about the crash. He said he is devastated. Every single member of the entire company is devastated. His wife cannot stop crying. Right now, crews are still out there across the river on the New Jersey side, trying to recover as much wreckage as they can. On the West Side Highway here in Manhattan, Sam Brock, NBC News.
The FAA is also trying to figure out what caused a small plane to crash upon landing in Georgia. That injured 4 people. 6 people were on board, including 2 children. Authorities say the plane was landing when it skid off the runway, ran into some trees, and then flipped onto its roof. A fuel spill caused the plane to catch fire on the pilot's side, and crews quickly put out the flames. 4 people are being treated for various injuries.
Carolina Hurricanes are playoff bound, and now they have added the NHL's #1 prospect to their roster. Russian defenseman Alexander Nikishin signed a 2-year deal with the Hurricanes. Carolina drafted him in 2020, but he's been playing in Russia.
He is the #1 prospect in the NHL. He's an element that the Hurricanes do not have. He is a big, fast, physical, two-way defenseman who set scoring records in the KHL, which is the second best hockey league in the world. And he plays with a mean streak. Hurricanes don't possess a single player that plays with a mean streak. That's fine. You don't necessarily need it, but a lot of the best teams have it. So, I mean, this is kind of a unicorn for the Hurricanes.
Well, sounds good, right? Hurricanes could have Nikishin in the lineup as soon as next week if they can get the needed visas for him to get here. The regular season ends a week from tomorrow, and then it's on to the playoffs. Carolina Hurricanes will have home ice during the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. If they can get him in the lineup, what a boost that would be. The earliest possibly they could play that first game of the playoffs would be April 19th.
We will see how that mean streak plays out and if it nets results. Well, next at noon, Prince Harry visits Ukraine, where he toured during his first visit, and what he said was mind-blowing.
Also, wandering into a Y, a sign of deer roaming urban areas, where this one showed up and why authorities say it's happening more often.
Plus, esports explodes, where a huge tournament is being held and how it could have global impact on North Carolina's reputation.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Breaking news in the lawsuit seeking to throw out 65,000 voters' ballots from the 2024 elections. The case will decide who wins last year's race for a seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. Today, Republican candidate Jefferson Griffin asked the Supreme Court not to hear the case at all. Griffin won at the State Court of Appeals last week. That should be the final word, he told the Supreme Court today. His Democratic opponent, Allison Riggs, and the State Board of Elections disagree. They want the High Court to hear the lawsuit and to reject Griffin's attempt to change the results of the election.
Tonight, you can give your thoughts about possible budget cuts in Wake County Public Schools. Superintendent Robert Taylor's proposal includes cuts to staffing, supplies, and dental insurance. A public input session is happening tonight, 6:15 to 8:15 at Fuquay-Varina Middle School. 2 more sessions are scheduled for later this month in Raleigh, next Wednesday at Abbott's Creek Elementary, and then April 23rd at the Southeast Raleigh YMCA. The board could vote on the budget as early as May 7th. Today, a groundbreaking is happening for a new park in Garner. Yergin Park will be on East Garner Road. The first phase of the park will feature 4 multi-use athletic fields, an inclusive playscape, a picnic shelter, and a multi-use paved path. The groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for 2:30 this afternoon.
A Windy City celebration will not take place this year. Organizers canceled the annual Cinco de Mayo parade and other festivities on Chicago's southwest side. They say President Trump's immigration policy is creating fear in the Mexican community. Organizers say the decision to cancel the event puts safety over profit. The head of the U.S. military base in Greenland has been stripped of her command. The U.S. Space Force announced that Colonel Susanna Myers is being removed from her role at Patuxent Space Base because they lost confidence in her ability to lead. Last month, Vice President J.D. Vance said Denmark had not done a good job for Greenlanders. Myers sent a message to troops saying the views he expressed did not reflect the base. Since the U.S. delegation's visit, both Greenland and Denmark have shown a united front opposing a U.S. annexation of the autonomous Danish territory.
Ukraine's key allies met today in Brussels to discuss the war with Russia. However, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth joined the meeting virtually. This is the first time since the group was established after Russia's invasion in 2022 that a senior Pentagon official has not attended in person. The defense ministers of the United Kingdom and Germany said peace is out of reach for Ukraine due to Russian President Vladimir Putin's ongoing aggression. Meanwhile, Trump envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in St. Petersburg today to meet with the Russian president. A Kremlin spokesman calls Witkoff's visit a good opportunity to convey the Russian position to Trump. The world stands with you was the message from Britain's Prince Harry that he shared with wounded military and civilians during his first visit to Ukraine. The Duke of Sussex toured the Superhuman Center, an orthopedic clinic in Lviv. And video showed Harry meeting medical professionals and patients, as well as inspecting the surgery room and prostheses. Prince Harry called the work being done at that facility mind-blowing.
I want to remind Ukraine that the world stands with them, and Invictus will be a partner with Ukraine and with its Ukrainian Invictus team for as long as needed. And we love the partnership.
Prince Harry was joined by veterans from the Invictus Games Foundation. That's the charity behind the international sporting event he founded for military personnel who've been wounded in action.
The YMCA says everyone is welcome at its facilities. That is, of course, unless you're a deer.
Hi, girl. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, she must be so confused and scared. Police in Louisville, Kentucky received a call about this deer wandering into a YMCA building. Body cam video from one of the officers shows him escorting the animal out the door. The department says it has seen an increase of deer in urban areas. They believe flooding is bringing the animals to populated areas in search of food or shelter. Not a whole lot of food at the Y, just, a lot of bench presses and gym equipment and things. Basketball.
Coaxing her out into the parking lot, though. Like, what is she going to do there? I don't know.
Let's find some nearby wooded areas.
It is a tough situation, right? With all the flooding. We have our share of rain happening around here. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We've needed it in a lot of different ways.
We really have. And, one good thing is it isn't lasting all day. We saw some significant rain this morning, anywhere from 1.5 inches to, an inch across parts of the viewing area. Just enough that we didn't really see much flooding early this morning. Up until 5:15, there was an aerial flood advisory down around the Fayetteville area, but that has expired a long time ago, and we haven't seen a repeat of that, even though we saw some pretty significant rain. Again, like I said, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches this morning. Here comes round 2. Now, round 2 will be different than the round 1 that we saw this morning. This morning, it was a little bit more widespread. What we're going to see this afternoon are these smaller cells that'll be clustered together. So gusty winds are more likely, some hail, some brief heavy rain as these move on through. We'll zoom in and you can see a couple of those just move past Siler City. That's getting ready to move into, say, right around Harris Lake there in southwest Wake County. We've seen a few of those coming past San Sanford. All of that will continue to move on up through the Triangle area over the next hour or so. It is a WRAL weather alert day, looking at between 3 and 9 as the optimum time for seeing severe storms. Hail is possible, as well as heavy rain and strong gusty winds. It's a level 1 risk for severe storms. Now, hail is something that we don't see that often around here. What has to happen for hail is we have to have cold air just above us, up in the next few thousand feet. So with the thunderstorm, we have wind coming up and wind coming down. The gusts that come up will grab a hold of those raindrops, push them into the cold part of the cloud. They freeze and become ice crystals. Now, they'll end up being tossed around in the cloud, and they'll get different layers of ice. Eventually, those become heavy enough that they start to fall through the cloud. They get recirculated, and they become big and heavy enough that eventually they're going to fall out of the cloud, and that becomes the hail that we'll see. And we have a good chance of seeing that for later on this afternoon. So just keep your eye out for a little hail. We had the potential for that a little earlier today as well. For the rest of the day, again, just these clusters of cells that'll be kind of rotating around a low pressure system. That's likely to be with us up until around 8 or 9 o'clock this evening. And then after that, we're done with it, and it looks fairly dry for tomorrow. Looking off into the distance there toward the west in Sanford, you can see those gray clouds, those cells that are not too far from Sanford kind of showing up there on the camera. It's 59 degrees currently in the Triangle, 61 in Fayetteville, and 53 in South Hill. So pretty big range in our temperatures right now. 57 Holly Springs, it's 56 in Cary, 56 in Wake Forest. So mostly mid to upper 50s around the Triangle. 57 in Durham this afternoon, 70 in Fayetteville, 61 in Raleigh. So again, depending on where you are, definitely much warmer in the south and cooler in the north. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy and pretty chilly at 59. And then Sunday will bring us a bit more sunshine. We'll see a high of 83. Lots of festivals happening this weekend. Pimento Cheese Festival in Cary. Highs will be in the 50s, or temperatures in the 50s. So just make sure you grab a sweater or a sweatshirt. Coming up, I'm going to talk about how much more rain we'll end up seeing for the remainder of the day. And coming back, we have our 5 on your side headlines.
No more Teslas. The model's no longer available in China.
And VR workouts. Is this the new reality? Find out what people are doing to avoid paying gym memberships.
$30,000 booster seats are being recalled because they may not properly protect a child in a crash. Kiko is recalling certain MyFitZip air harness and booster child restraint seats. And according to the federal recall, the seat may allow excessive chest movement in a crash, which does not meet safety standards. Kiko is working on a remedy. Contact their customer service line at the number on your screen for more information.
Biopharmaceutical giant Novartis is committing $23 billion to expand its operation in the U.S. The announcement comes as President Donald Trump previewed major tariffs on imports of medication. The Swiss-based drug maker says the investment would create at least 1,000 jobs for skilled workers like engineers and scientists. Another 3,000 jobs would be for construction workers and support staff. U.S. drug makers, including Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson, announced their own U.S. manufacturing investments earlier this year. Tesla is suspending all new orders for 2 USA-made models. They say the reason is the ongoing U.S. and China trade tariffs. Model S and Model X are no longer available on Tesla's Chinese website. Both electric vehicles are made in the U.S. and then exported to China. The company did not give a reason for the move. Today, China announced it is raising its own tariffs on American goods to 125%. And this was in response to Trump's levies on Chinese imports that now total 145%. Gamers galore. Some of the top players in the country converged on the capital city. We are live at the convention center for the 3-day event.
GalaxyCon returns. We'll talk to the founder about a new partnership and the events you won't want to miss this summer. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Today is a WRAL weather alert day.
Rain continues to make for messy travel, and severe storms are possible for later this afternoon into this evening. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with a look at what we can expect.
Round 2 is starting to develop here on this WRAL weather alert day. We're beginning to see some little cells working their way into the western part of the viewing area. Now, this is going to feel different from what we saw this morning. This morning, the rain was widespread and it rained for several hours. This is going to be different. These are going to be just tiny cells that move in clusters, and they move in and they move out, and we'll see more of them rotate through. These are likely to produce heavier rain that doesn't last as long. We may see stronger winds, and we could see some hail with these as well. So this morning felt more just like a regular low pressure system. These will feel more like some thunderstorm cells, but currently I'm not seeing any lightning associated with them, but that's likely to change as we get through the afternoon. What we have happening above us is a low pressure system rotating counterclockwise, and you can almost see that rotation happening as I roll Futurecast through. This rotation doesn't have anything to do with tornadoes. It's just a broad circulation that means that these cells will be rotating around it, coming out of the northwest and moving to the southeast. So again, between 3 and 9 o'clock, we'll have the potential for hail, some heavy rain, and some gusty winds. Coming up, I'll talk about how much rain will likely total up before this is over.
We'll have weather updates for you on air and on the WRAL News app. You'll get up-to-the-minute alerts when that storm is near your community.
So maybe you want to escape this chilly rain, right? Well, you can be on the white sandy beaches of Bermuda in just 2 hours thanks to a new direct flight out of RDU. RDU's first nonstop flight to Bermuda took off hours ago. A plane landed at RDU from Bermuda this morning just after 10 o'clock to pick up travelers from the Triangle. The new flight is through Bermuda Air. It's the 4th international airline to announce a new service at RDU in the last year. Bermuda Air's co-founder explains why the Triangle was their top choice for a new destination.
This area has educational opportunities, it has business opportunities, it has cultural opportunities, and all of those things match well with Bermuda. And so we're really excited to be connecting Bermuda with this vibrant area.
So just 2 hours, you say. Flights are scheduled to leave RDU every week on Mondays and Fridays, Jeff.
Quick weekend trip. Let's go. Thousands of gamers are expected to take in more than $2 million in economic impact for Raleigh and the surrounding areas. Fans from all over the world are flocking to our area for esports tournaments like the one happening right now in downtown Raleigh. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live at the convention center right now, and Destiny, Raleigh officials say they want to make the city a U.S. hub for esports.
In fact, I talked to someone outside. They said that they wanted to come to this tournament because they had never even been to the U.S. So that just gives you an idea of the international people that are traveling here to Raleigh for these kinds of events. If you take a look behind me, there are about 3,000 people here. We just heard people cheering as the game started to intensify. The best of the best will compete for $1 million prize pool. 12 teams will face off here. The executive vice president of the Raleigh Tourism Bureau says that this week's tournament is expected to bring in about $2 to $2.5 million in economic impact between gaming companies like Epic Games and more collegiate investments in e-gaming. The Triangle and surrounding areas are becoming a hub for esports.
The end goal is to continue to work with those private sector partners and the academic partners to try to bring talent and keep it in our backyard.
This tournament that we're here today that was previously held in Singapore, Thailand, and the UK. Raleigh will also host 2 other e-gaming tournaments here right in the city in May and June. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A loyal Duke fan and lifelong sports card collector has a new prized possession, a rare one-of-one Cooper Flag autographed card. Steve lives in North Carolina and has followed Duke sports since he was a kid. Now, he asked us not to reveal his last name, but he did not mind sharing his excitement. The Duke fan was opening boxes of cards with his family when his brother made the discovery. Steve said he's not sure what he'll do with the card, but is enjoying the thrill of it.
I'm just enjoying having the card right now, and I'm enjoying to see what TSA actually grades it as. And then from there, I'll make a decision whether I keep the card or whether I decide to, either sell it or do it through an auction.
Yeah, if he sold it, Steve said he's already gotten offers of up to $160,000 for that car.
One of one. Amazing. Concerning connection here. The impacts researchers say air pollution can have on brain function.
And a significant surge. Autism rates are way up over the past quarter century. What the Health Secretary, RFK Jr., plans to do. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Taking a live look right now at North Hills on what has been largely a rainy day around the Triangle. Giving us a little break right now, though, as you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
An actor best known for his role as a doctor now finds himself battling a very real disease. Eric Dane says he's been diagnosed with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Dane is best known for playing the plastic surgeon nicknamed McSteamy on Grey's Anatomy. ALS is a progressive neurodegenerative disease affecting nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. The disease causes paralysis over time, and there is no known cure. Gray skies could be harming your gray matter. A study says air pollution might be harming the brains of seniors and increasing the risk of dementia and cognitive decline. Researchers studied seniors for 8 to 10 years, then compared data in performance on memory, thinking, and language skills tests. It revealed that higher exposure to nitrogen dioxide and fine particle pollution was linked to lower scores, especially in language skills.
Autism rates have spiked in the past 25 years, but no one knows why. In 2000, the rate was 1 in 150. The latest numbers available from the CDC in 2020 showed 1 in 36 children identified with autism spectrum disorder. Scientists say genetics and exposure to chemicals may play a role, and now Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is launching a massive effort to determine the cause.
We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
Some scientists worry Kennedy's effort will blame vaccines, which could have a negative impact on public health. The NIH says no link has been found between autism and vaccines.
Festival of Fandom. GalaxyCon is returning to Raleigh with an added attraction. Coming up, we'll share a big announcement after the break.
Sweet sculptures. One of the unmistakable signs of Easter is turning heads in a good way. How organizers came up with this idea. Get ready, it's the return of GalaxyCon. Joining us to talk about this year's event and an exciting new partnership is Mike Broder, the president and founder of GalaxyCon. Mike, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it. GalaxyCon has been a huge success with fans, and I'm not going to lie, the funds that they bring to our area last year alone brought nearly $10 million to our local economy. So explain for us, will you, from your viewpoint, the wild popularity of this convention.
It's just, people love celebrating fandom. They love celebrating things they love, movies, pop culture, TV, cosplay, comics, wrestling, all of that. It all comes together, one weekend a year in Raleigh where we do our show, and the fans have come out for it year after year. And, the show just continues to grow. And, we're doing some new and interesting things this year to try and help with that expansion.
Yeah, and not just each year getting bigger, but better with more things. You've already committed to stay at the Raleigh Convention Center for another 6 years after this year, 2031, I think it runs through. And we have a special announcement this year because GalaxyCon is introducing Street Fest. So WRAL is a proud community partner in this. Tell us about it. It's a free outdoor extravaganza.
Yeah, so this will be our first year going outside on the street. We're going to do it, on Saturday of the event. And we're going to do a free street fair where we're going to have some celebrities out there, some wrestlers out there. We're going to put our cosplay wrestling show. We'll have some stages for bands and other attractions. There'll be food trucks. And the idea is that, we can just add another component to the show while we're waiting, for the convention center to do their expansion, while we're waiting for new hotels to add more space. There's only so much we can do in the confines of the buildings. and also it's a way to kind of bring it to the community without them having to come inside and buy the ticket and what have you. They can kind of get a little bit of a taste of it outside.
Yeah, free Street Fest, and it'll be an amazing building once it's finished, the new convention center. Give us a sneak peek into some of the stars who will be taking part in GalaxyCon 2025.
We're still working on that. There's so many. We just announced Clark Gregg, from the Avengers, Agent Coulson, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've got so many things planned that we haven't even announced yet that I can't say until the contracts are signed and dotted. You can go to galaxycon.com. You can kind of keep an eye on, where we are, with the guest list. But we're still 3 months away, and this is kind of when some of the big headliners start. We have Gina Davis is coming. Susan Sarandon is coming.
Yeah.
We're doing a big Rocky Horror thing with Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick, Patricia Quinn, Nell Campbell. With Gina Davis and Susan, it's that kind of a league of their own kind of a thing.
I get it. All the parts are in motion, and you've got some time. Yeah. GalaxyCon takes place July 24th through the 27th. Raleigh Convention Center is a place, also the Street Fest. Tickets are available right now online, starting at just $45. And Mike Broder, I wish you best of luck here in the coming months and at this year's event when you come to town. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Have a good weekend. Renee?
It will be huge, that's for sure. An art center in Wisconsin is hosting an annual Peeps show. This one, we promise, is rated G because it features the marshmallow treat. The exhibit features everything from paintings to dioramas and anything in between made from Peeps the candy. This year includes creations featuring Dr. Seuss titles, SpongeBob Peep Pants, and the Green Bay Peepers. The center developed the exhibit in 2008 as a cheap alternative to expensive exhibitions. Something to see in Wisconsin. Well, take a look at this. This is something to see. Our cameras are rolling this morning in Pinehurst as storms moved across the area. You can see the rain forced a few of the players to leave the greens. Well, right on cue, they return as the sun returned. Gotta love a good time lapse. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with the timeline for our next round of rain.
And this one's going to be a little different than what we saw this morning. This morning it was widespread, covering huge areas of the viewing area. And this is going to be different. So we're looking at clusters where the rain is going to be heavier than it was this morning, but it will move through a whole lot faster. There may be more chances for lightning as well as hail and some strong gusty winds. So we're seeing this sort of moving into the western part of the viewing area now, some of that moving into western Harnett County and western Wake County too, right down there around Harris Lake. You can see here moving up across Harris Lake toward Holly Springs. There's a little lightning there too, just to the east side of Jordan Lake. That's moving on into Apex. And then also one across Pittsboro. We're going to move up to the north a little bit. Look at this heavy band about to move into Chapel Hill. If you're in Chapel Hill or Hillsboro, you're about to see some heavy rain probably within the next 15 minutes or so as that next round moves through. Already we've seen some decent amounts of rainfall in our southern counties. It's been anywhere from an inch to an inch and a quarter. Even way down closer to the Virginia line, it's been over an inch and a half. Around the triangle, about an inch or so. A little bit farther to the east, say Rocky Mount down towards Selma, it's been about an inch and a quarter. And then up the I-95 corridor, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And then we have these heavy cells that'll move through during the evening. So I'm going to say another at least quarter to a half an inch, depending on where those cells develop. This is a look at Apex, where that rain is starting to move in. And we'll check out some of the temperatures around the area too. In Fayetteville, it's a little bit of a break in the action, but in Chapel Hill, we have the rain that's just starting to move in. And boy, it's going to be a downpour here in about 10 minutes. Raleigh on the quiet side right now, but more of that rain is moving into Wake County. Here's a look at Futurecast, and we have these cells back to our south and west. It'll be moving through between now and 7 or 8 o'clock. We'll continue to see just rounds of these cells coming through with the potential for some thunder and lightning, as well as some hail and some strong gusty winds. It is just a level 1 risk. So what does that mean? It means that it's an isolated chance of severe storms, likely to be limited in duration. So it's the lowest end chance of severe storms, but again, some hail that could do some minor damage, as well as some strong gusty winds are all possible. As we get through the rest of the day today, as I mentioned, maybe another quarter to half an inch of rain left in this system. For tomorrow, there could be a quick sprinkle in the morning, but Saturday's looking pretty dry. Saturday is going to be cool and breezy, lots of cloud cover. Sunday looks beautiful. Tuesday, another another weak front comes through with just a small chance for rain. Lots and lots of Easter egg hunts this weekend. Saturday, I put the caution light on for going outside. It's just going to be cloudy and cool. Just want to make sure you're dressed warmly enough. Grab a sweater, grab a jacket. On Sunday, upper 60s with sunshine, so it will feel more comfortable if you're out and about on Sunday. If you're hoping for it to be warmer, hold on, 83 on Monday. But by the middle of next week, we're back into the 60s again.
Yep, just wait.
Yeah, a little something for everybody next week.
How about this life-changing surprise?
I'm really grateful for the foundation's just amazing thing.
How a community honors one of its own for his efforts. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
Today's a WRAL weather alert day as the showers move across our area, and we are set to see waves of rain throughout the day. The chance for storms ramps up between 3 and 9 tonight. We do have a risk for small hail and gusty winds. You can just download the WRAL News app to bring the dual Doppler 5000 radar right to where you are. It is free. We're also following breaking news as the FBI is investigating after a person was shot in Hope County. Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to a report of a man with a gun in the area of Darby Drive. Authorities say deputies heard yelling and someone fired a shot. It's not clear who fired the shots. We are asking the SBI about that, as well as who the suspect is. You can stick with us on air and online at WRAL.com for updates.
A town hall event in Raleigh will address the future of St. Augustine's University as it faces staggering financial debt and loss of accreditation. Alumni and supporters of St. Augustine's hope tonight's event will gain national attention. The national digital talk show, #RolandMartinUnfiltered, is hosting tonight's town hall at Martin Street Baptist Church. Doors open at 5 p.m. The town hall starts at 6.
Two men who caused irreversible harm to ancient rock formations will learn their punishment this summer. The pair was caught on camera damaging protected red rock at the Lake Mead National Recreation Area in Nevada. Both face up to a year in prison and/or a fine of up to $100,000. Their sentencing is scheduled for July.
It's been over 6 months since Hurricane Helene tore through western North Carolina, leaving many to pick up the pieces of what remains. 3 organizations came together to present a free electric car to a wounded veteran. Kevin Ager has helped his community in Buncombe County by assisting with home repairs. Ager says this comes at a pivotal time, and he is so grateful for this amazing gift.
I'm at a point in my life where I really couldn't buy a new vehicle, and it was so great to get the support, to be able to continue to do what I do, help other people.
Reward the helpers. Ager served in Iraq and Kosovo. He says his new SUV will make it easier to visit his friends and family.
If low-key, easygoing dogs are your favorites, our pet of the day is just for you. Forrest is 7 years old. When he was rescued, he was suffering from heartworm disease. He is in congestive heart failure, is only expected to live a couple more years. He's surrounded by loving family, though. If you'd like to help make him the most of his next couple of years, you can visit spcawake.org. NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local news update.
Get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great Friday.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM.